Margaret is 74. Every single month, $202.90 disappears from her Social Security check before she ever sees it, gone automatically, to pay her Medicare Part B premium. That's $2,434 a year. Her neighbor, Dolores, same age, same street, pays nothing. Not because Dolores makes less money, not because she got lucky, because 15 years ago, somebody told Dolores to ask one question and nobody ever told Margaret. That's the entire difference. One asked, one didn't, and it's costing Margaret $2,434 a year every year for as long as she doesn't ask. There's a program already funded, already on the books, where the government will pay that $200 and 2.90 for you. Not a loan, not a scam. Real money sitting there going unclaimed by millions of people like Margaret simply because nobody told them to apply. By the end of this video, you're going to know exactly how to make sure you're Dolores, not Margaret. Before we go further, a quick word. I'm not a financial advisor, I'm not an accountant, and this video is for education only, not personal financial advice. Always check your own situation with a qualified professional. If that's fair, hit that like button. It helps this find the people who need it. Let's get into it. So what does Dolores actually have that Margaret doesn't? It's called a Medicare Savings Program. The name is boring enough that most people scroll right past it, which is exactly the problem. Margaret's heard the name before and assumed it didn't apply to her. Here's what it actually does in plain English. If your income is below a certain line, and that line is higher than most people assume, your state pays your Medicare Part B premium for you. That $202.90 that normally gets pulled straight out of your Social Security check simply stops getting pulled. The money stays in your check. You feel it the very next month. There are actually a few tiers of this program, and they go by initials that sound like alphabet soup: QMB, SLMB, QI. Dolores didn't memorize any of that. All she knew was the name of the program and the fact that it was worth asking about. The top tier doesn't just pay your premium, it also covers your deductibles and your copays. The other tiers pay that monthly premium. Every single tier puts real recurring money back in your pocket. Dolores has been getting that $202.90 back every month for 15 years. Margaret has been paying it every month for 15 years. Same street, same age, one conversation apart. So why didn't anyone tell Margaret? This is the part that should make you angry because it's not an accident. It's how the system is built. Nobody from Medicare calls you about this. Nobody from your state mails you a letter that says, good news, you qualify. The money is there. The program is funded. But they wait for you to come to them. If you don't know to ask, you simply never get it. That's the institutional failure sitting at the center of Margaret's last 15 years. It's not that she was denied, it's that she was never told. And here's what makes it worse. Margaret actually qualifies. Her income is modest, well within the limits. She has spent 15 years paying a bill she never had to pay for the simple reason that the system that owes her this money has absolutely no obligation to volunteer it. Let's put a real number on 15 years of silence. $202.90 a month is $2,434 a year. Over 15 years, that's over $36,000 that Margaret paid and Dolores didn't. Let that sink in. $36,000 sitting on the same street, split unevenly between two women who qualified for the exact same thing. And remember, that $202.90 comes straight out of Social Security before Margaret ever sees it. Getting it covered isn't like getting a coupon, it's like giving yourself a permanent $2,400 a year raise on the spot. For the top tier of this program, it's even more, because that tier also covers deductibles and copays on every doctor visit. If this is making you do the math on your own street, take a second and tap that like button. It genuinely helps put this in front of more people who are sitting on the wrong side of that math right now without knowing it. Now, here's the question that stops almost everyone before they even try. I probably make too much to qualify. That single sentence is the reason millions of dollars go unclaimed every year, and it's wrong far more often than it's right. Here's what nobody tells you about how the income limit actually works. For the tier that pays your premium, a single person can generally qualify with a monthly income up to roughly $1,600 and a couple up to roughly $2,180. There's a slightly higher tier that reaches a single person up to around $1,800 a month, a couple up to around $2,450. But here's the part that matters most. When the state counts your income, they don't count all of it. There's a standard chunk they ignore right off the top. And if you're still working at all, a large part of that income doesn't get counted either. Margaret looked at her monthly check years ago, saw a number she assumed was too high, and quietly gave up. She never found out the state was using a smaller number than the one in her head. She disqualified herself with the wrong math. And one more thing, because it matters. This is not a handout. You paid into this system your entire working life, every paycheck, for decades. This is you getting back a piece of what you already paid for. There's no shame in claiming something you earned. Here's exactly how Dolores got it 15 years ago and how you can get it starting this month. This program is run by your state, not by Medicare directly, so you don't call Medicare for it. You apply through your state's Medicaid office, even though this isn't full Medicaid and you don't have to be on Medicaid to get it. That trips people up. So let me say it clearly. You apply at the Medicaid office, but you're applying for the Medicare Savings Program specifically. The simplest first step is to call 1-800-MEDICARE. That's 1-800-6-334-227 and ask for your state's contact information for the Medicare Savings Program, or look up your state's Medicaid office directly. Most states let you apply by mail, by phone, in person, or online. And there's good news that just got better. Federal rules now require states to take your word about your savings and resources in most cases, which means far less paperwork than there used to be. The door is more open than it's ever been. If you're getting value out of this, consider subscribing. I put out videos like this every week, breaking down exactly what seniors are owed and what the system quietly hopes you'll never ask about. It's free and it keeps you a step ahead. Here's something Margaret has no idea exists, and it might be worth even more than the premium itself. When you get approved for a Medicare Savings Program, it can automatically trigger something called Extra Help, a separate program that lowers your prescription drug costs. The Social Security Administration estimates Extra Help is worth around $5,700 a year for the people who qualify. So this isn't just a $2,434 a year fix. For someone like Margaret, getting approved could unlock thousands more on top of that without filling out a second application. And one more thing worth knowing, because it could mean extra money right now. If you apply and you're approved, the coverage can sometimes be applied back a few months before your application date. So even if you've been paying that $200 and 2.90 for years, like Margaret has, that's still worth asking about. Drop a comment below and tell me, did you know this program existed before today? Or are you like Margaret, finding out for the first time? So let's bring this home. Margaret has paid roughly $2,434 a year, every year, simply because nobody told her this program existed. Dolores has kept that same money in her pocket for 15 years because someone once told her to ask one question. The program is called a Medicare Savings Program. It pays your $202.90 Part B premium. It can trigger an additional $5,700 a year in prescription help, and the income limits are higher than almost anyone assumes because the state doesn't count your income the way you think it does. Here's what I want you to take from this. The system is not going to come knocking. It is not going to volunteer the money you're owed. You have to be the one who asks the question Dolores asked 15 years ago. Now, I have to say this clearly because it matters. I am not a financial advisor or an accountant. This video is for education only, not personal financial advice. Run your own numbers by a qualified professional before you act. And if this opened your eyes, there's a related trap I've covered that costs seniors even more, quietly every year. The gap between the raise you're promised and the raise you actually get. I made a full video on that, and you can check it out by clicking right here. I'll see you over there.